ओम ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथ मा गुध्र कस्यचित् धनम्। कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषेत् सतं समाः। एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे। Up to this we have seen. So very carefully Upanishad highlighted that knowledge has nothing to do with lifestyle. I am contradicting very carefully, okay? So, because you are in lifestyle, that does not mean that you will have knowledge. Definitely, lifestyle supports, but lifestyle is not everything, which was being highlighted in Bhagavad Gita. Lokesh means Dvidha Nishtha. Based on your temperament, you can choose to be in Pravritti Marga or in Nivritti Marga. So, because you are in Pravritti Marga, that does not mean that you will not be liberated. Or because you are in Nivritti Marga, you will be liberated, or other way around. So, liberation has something to do with, knowledge has something to do with, please understand, your cognitive shift. So once this cognitive shift takes place, definitely knowledge continues. And to have commitment with the knowledge, we need a lifestyle. So whichever lifestyle based on your temperament and situation, you need to adapt, you need to choose. That's why very carefully and clearly, especially in the second verse, it was being highlighted that look, karma not to be looked down. At the same time, you cannot escape from karma. Because how long can you escape? Like many people say that don't worry, time will heal. The emotional hurt that you have in your life, will be healed in time. Yes. But what happens? It is exactly like a deep wound that is covered with a very thin layer of your skin, fresh skin. But inside, wound is there. Again, the moment something touches, what happens? Again, the whole wound comes. That's why what they do? When there is wound, there is a pus inside. You go to the doctor. The doctor's job is to cut, again, bring out the pus. So it is the most important aspect to look at the karma, that one cannot, one must not run away or escape from karma. That was second verse that we saw very carefully. And at the same time, make sure that ma gruddha kasyachit kasyasvid dhanam. Don't get into this eshanatrayam, three eshanas, as your sense of security. So the karma and the karma phala will not give you security either. But it is important, it is necessary. With this background, let us go to mantra number 3. Asuriya namate loka andhena tamasa vrita tanste pretyabhigachanti eke chatmahano jana. In this mantra, Upanishad is a little bit critical. He uses two words. One is Asuriya, other one is Atmahana. It's very, strong words. So, Atmahana means the one who is destroyer of one's own self. What in secular and language we use called spiritual suicide. So there are different types of suicides. Na? So this is called spiritual suicide, destroyer of one's own self. So who are they? So he nicely says, now let us look at very carefully. First he says, look, Yekecha janaha atmahanaha. So Yekecha janaha, whoever may be the people, makes no difference. So when he says he whoever may be, especially referring those people who think that karma is everything. By doing karma, I can go to heavens. Not heaven, heavens, remember. So we don't believe in heaven. We believe in heavens. There are different layer of heaven. And that heaven is called here as, they are called Asuriya. So we have this Asura and Deva. Deva and Asura. So what does this Asura and Deva? So generally translation is, this is what wrong translation has come by English. Asura means demon. Deva means God. So always God and, this Asura demon fight takes place. Actually, the Asura word itself is different. We need to understand. So, Ashu means Indriya, sense organs. Ra means Ramanteiti. So, generally, we say very carefully. So, that is called Asura. He who revels Ramati in Indriyas, in sense organs, the one who is engaged in sense pleasures is called Asura. And he says Asurya Loka. So there are fields of experiences where you will get all sort of pleasure, especially in South India now. Many people, come yearly holiday, especially from overseas, and that to Rasikas. Because now music session. Then what they'll do nowadays, I don't know whether it's still existing or not. There are passes, okay? So you pay money whether you want to this hour, that hour, based on that. So you can enter any, they have got tie up few sabhas, okay? So you can enter to this sabha, that sabha, or one sabha pass. So Rasikas, you should see how they shake their head, how they do it. Wow. And especially why I said this thing, because when, especially Americans, okay, those who stay in ABCD or those who stay in NRIs, all the time busy, they don't get this chance. Then they want to listen to something, okay, all the time, different voice, different things. So Indian sweet voice they want to hear, okay. Imagine if the same music continues all the time, like joke, like Ajit. So will he buy a ticket of pass to go to any music? Let us be practical. I'm sorry, Ajit, to bring you today. Because this is always available. In fact, sometimes Ajit will think if something, if she is not well, it is better so that there is no sound. This is what exactly I want to highlight, this Asurya Loka. I'm sorry, due respect to Ajit and Jyoti, that in heavens, especially in Gandharva Loka, so that is one field of experience called Gandharva. So where 24 hours singing, dancing going on. Imagine what will happen to you. Will you go crazy or not? And people do all sort of karma to go to heavens. In fact, they don't bother, they don't care anything. Their main target is to go to heaven. That's why those who cannot go to heaven rest in peace. This is the psychological impact of a religion. And it works. And here he says, look, these people are called Atmahana. They are the destroyer of oneself. And how can you use this strong word? That too, Veda itself uses this strong word. First of all, Atma cannot be destroyed. And how can they destroy the Atma, one's own self? It's contradicting each other. It's very simple. For example, this specs is here to see things clearly, especially when you grow old or your eye has got defect. Now, when you have the possibility of seeing or using specs, and you don't use it at all. And you struggle, you sign in wrong paper, wrong place, believing or trusting somebody. Now tell me, it is as good as this specs is destroyer or not? You are a destroyer of the specs or not? So when things are there available to be used, and it is not, that's why it is as good as that object or that person is not there with you. So here we say everyone has got potentiality to understand one's own self. In fact, the purpose of my life is to understand me, not understand others. Yes, understanding others, I can understand my psychological aspect of me. Understanding others, I can become closer to me. But main purpose is not to understand others, but to understand me, myself. So that's why he says very clearly, te janaha pratya. Pratya means after leaving this body. That's why when a person dies, called as a preta. The moment the person dies, we call preta karma. That rituals related to a dead body during those days, we call preta karma. Why? Because nobody goes happily. Prakarshana gata itatvat preta iti. Nobody goes happily. They are being pushed away. That's why one should learn. This is the beauty. To live without any push or pull. And when you live without push and pull, that is called settling everything. That time you are not a preta. And for that person, there is no preta karma required. That's why technically for a sannyasi, we do not do any preta karma because sannyasi is supposed to do that. Supposed to, with a quote. But we technically say, look, because all this karma has been done beforehand, so no problem. That's a double layer protection have been given. Here, here he says that preta means after departing this loka, now they go where? So they go to Asurya Nama Lokan Avigachanti. They attain a loka that is known as called Asurya, means where sense pleasures are available plentifully. But remember, this is what? Andhena tamasa iti. This is completely covered by ignorance. It is exactly like, I don't want to bring music example. It is exactly like coming to Odisha and having Rasgulla. So recently, this example came. So when you come to India, Odisha to have Rasgulla, fine. One day you will enjoy. Suppose second day, more number of Rasgulla falls on your plate. Then after that, what happens? The moment you see Rasgulla, please give me a break. I'm tired. Do you understand the concept? You cannot. Same thing also, all these locals that you are dreaming of. What happens? I can give you the beautiful example. People dream of coming to India, especially overseas people, those who are spiritual. And Indians, so-called youngsters, they want to go to Europe, Western world. What happens? Both the cases. The moment you land in Delhi, pam, 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 you go crazy. Same thing also when Indians goes to overseas, Western world, when they discover what they earn and what they spend, and finally when they calculate, nothing but working like a donkey. Then once in a while they come back to enjoy, to relax. Hey, you can relax here also well as well, okay? Hey, that doesn't mean that some of you can come back here, okay? Don't do that, okay? Be wherever you are, okay? That also I'm making clear. Because one fellow already packed up and came, so that's why I'm saying no, others are not allowed, okay? So coming back. So that's why what you need to do here is that understanding that my purpose of life is to know myself. Self knowledge is my first priority, not gaining punya. Yes, through gaining punya, I can prepare myself, but that is not the purpose. And here, very carefully, Upanishad highlights because simple thing. He says, without self knowledge, even if being in the heaven, it is a bondage. With self knowledge, even if you don't have anything, in ordinary living, you are a free person. It is like when you are being tied down, whether it is iron chain or golden chain, makes no difference. You are being tied down. Remember this. When you are free, whether you have iron glass or gold glass, remember that is your plus point. First, be free, not with the place or situation. Well, this thing now from verse number 4 to 8 talks about Nivritti Marga in details, called Jnana Yoga, you can say. Let us read verse number 4. Anejadekam manaso javiyah nainat deva apnuban purvamasrat तद्धावतो ज्ञान अत्येति तिष्ठत तस्मिन् अपो मातरिश्वा दधाति. So very carefully and clearly, while doing this Atmaswarupa Varnana for this from verse number 4 to 8, he comes to this word Ekam Anejat Manasah Javiyah. So Ekam, that which is one, Anejat, that which does not move, Manasah Javiyah is faster than mind. That means the Atma, that which is unmoving, immovable, yet it is faster than the mind. So when you look at this sort of statement, you need a lot of explanations. So this is called methodology of methodology of teaching, prakriya. So how we need to look at? So first we look at that what is anatma and what is atma. So let us do some analysis, okay? So what is the difference between atma and anatma? O is being added, okay? Atma, anatma, opposite. Now, how can you say something is anatma? If you want to understand what is experienced and who is experiencer. So what is the difference between experienced and experiencer? Is it clear? Both are one and same. Anatma is experienced. Atma is the experiencer. Observed, observer. So how? So we say There are 5 qualities, or you can say distinct character, lakshana, better, that has got anatma, also atma. So if you look at first one is called that drishyatvam. Second one is called bhautikatvam. Third one, sagunatvam. Fourth one, savikaritvam. And finally, agamapayitvam. Is it clear? Repeating, drishyatvam, bhautikatvam, sagunatvam, savikaritvam, and agamapayitvam. So these are the 5 lakshanas, characteristics. Same thing, if we look at Atma, exactly 5. So what you need to do, just I'm saying so that I'll explain. Instead of drishyatam, adrishyatam, add a. So instead of bhautikatvam, abhautikatvam. Sagunatvam, so here little different, not asagunatim, put nirgunatvam, okay? So sagunatvam, here is nirgunatvam. Savikaritvam, avikaritvam, or nirvikaritvam also. And agama painotvam, ona, no, you have to, ona gama paitvam. So what does it mean? This is first drushyatvam. So if we try to look at that, the body that we see is visible because we see. As we see the body, also this is called prapancha. Also we see this jagat. And not only we see, also it is bhautikatvam. It is made up of 5 elements. Bhutas, grossified elements, this body. Then sagunatvam. It has got its quality, tall, fat, whatnot, fair. Savikaritvam. Of course, there is vikaram. In fact, only vikaram. Every second, how many tissue cells are dying in the body? In millions. And agama painatvam. So when he says agama painatvam, that means what? It is sometimes available, sometimes not available. Coming and going. Especially the moment I go to sleep, body is not there. Moment I wake up, body is available. This is the best example. Now, if the body case, now extend this body to mind. Mind also same thing. All these 5. Mind also not available when deep sleep. So when this body is made up of 5 gross elements, mind is made up of 5 ungrossified elements. We have seen in Tattva Bodha. So now, whatever you say, all are called anatma. Now, what is atma? Opposite of these 5. Adrushyatvam. So that means it is not an object of experience. That's why you say experiencer can never be experienced. And if you say in your meditation, you experienced Atma, you experienced yourself, What did you experience? Because experiencer can never be experienced. That's why by doing any sort of meditation, you cannot understand yourself. And again, he says that being abhautikatvam, because it is not at all material entity. And of course, because of whose presence all the matter comes, all five elements are born. So that's why it is called abhautikatvam. And then comes aguna, agunatvam. Sorry, nirgunatvam. We have to take nirgunatvam. So nirgunatvam, Atma does not have any guna, any attribute or any properties. Even though they will say Ananta Guna Kalyana Sampanna, that is another one will come, okay? So let me not get into that mode here, okay? So Ishwaraha Ananta Guna Kalyana Sampanna, correct, but not Atma. So how we will explain Atma there? So there is some loophole. Let us not get into. And when it is nirgunatvam, free from gunas, in fact, somebody explained nirguna recently. Nirguna means from whom all the gunas has come out. So that means Ananta Guna Kalyana Sampanna Vyakti. So they made the God as a person, okay? Anyway, let me not get into, okay, the controversy. Then he says, look, abhikaritvam. So that means what? It is not subject to any modification. So with this background, let us look at the verse. Already I have crossed the time, but I can see. Ekam anejat. The Atma, that is Ekam. Because of these five, let us say, lakshanas. And of course, anejat, not moving, unmoving. But manasaha jabiya is faster than mind. Why it talks this point? Very beautiful point. Always mind tries to understand self. A mind cannot. This is what strictly. Being faster than mind, it is like if the child is faster than you, can you catch the child? Always you will be behind. So mind being anatma, how can anatma will understand atma? The field of anatma is in anatma. The eyes can see that which is limited in nature. Can I perceive unlimited? Physical eye cannot perceive unlimited. That's why we come to the conclusion, like you know, the vastness ends. You understand? What is vastness? Ends. The horizon ends there. This is what our conclusion. So that's why here he says very carefully that the mind, he arrives very carefully, okay? That means Atmajnanam cannot come through your mind. So I meditated years and after that I got enlightened. So that you can take a lantern and show to others, okay? You are enlightened. And this is what people do it. So here he says it's not possible at all. So manasaha javiya, mind cannot. Because these are the mantras to be remembered, okay? So that, and interestingly, devaha enat na apnuban. What when mind cannot, what about Deva? Deva means not gods, okay? Don't translate God. So here Deva means, Adi Shankaracharya brings very nicely, very carefully. So Devaha, so he says that it comes from the root Deep. To shine is called, or to be brilliant is called Deep root. So Devaha means here sense organs. So Divyati Prakasati iti. Prakasate iti. It should be, yes, Prakasate. Divyati Prakasate iti Indriyani ityartha. So that means Deva means Indriya. Devaha means Indriyani, sense organs. So he says, including Indriyani, sense organs, enat na apnuban. Sense organs also cannot reach. Actually, I heard why this thing talks. I heard Anahata Sabdam. How can you? I heard myself. How could you hear yourself? Hey, you can hear your shadow, not yourself, okay? Anyway, let me not get into too much. And he says, look, Purbam Arshat tat dhavat anyan atyeti tishtat tasmin matariswa apah dadhati iti. That means Purbam Arshat, while remaining motionless, tatah dhavat anyan atyeti, it overtakes all others. It's a very poetic language. So being all these five lakshanas always overtakes opposite five lakshanas, gunas. Can you see this point? And it is there everywhere. And that's why he says, look, tasmin matarishwa apadadhati. So you just this word matarishwa. So that means what? Now that atma, so tasmin, in that atma, matarishwa apadadhati. Matarishwa means hiranyagarbha ityartha. Why? Apah dadhati. So that means it sustains all activities. And why we call Matarishwa as Hiranyagarbha? Very technically I was looking at. So in Vedic references, both Matarishwa and Hiranyagarbha symbolizes the universal principle of life and creation. Some places Matarishwa is considered as breathing of Virata Purusha. However, here we need to see very differently and carefully. So the Matarishwa means Matari Swayati iti Matarishwa. So the one who breathes in the mother space means in the atmosphere ityartha. So now when we look at this thing, how this happens? Actually, in Vedic language, Matarishwa also is considered as the fire. The ritualistic fire that we do, that fire moves in the antariksha, in the space, from one loka to another loka, carrying our havya. That's why other name of ritualistic fire is called havya vahana. So as it is pervading, linking from one loka to another loka everywhere, because of whose presence all these things moves, so also the life force. And Hiranyagarbha, interestingly, is also life force. So in short, now Hiranyagarbha creates everything. I don't translate as, golden egg, okay? Golden egg or golden umbu. So Hiranyagarbha, you can use the word Virata Purusha, that also is sustained by or does all activities in whose presence that is indeed Atma. And what is that Atma? Not is that Atma. That Atma, what we are discussing, is me. More of it, we'll see. Om Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, all of you.